Hello everybody, welcome back to episode 3 now of my Let's Build series where I'm building a city. And as you can see right behind me, this is what I got done last episode. I got all these sea cliffs in here and I put all these towers in this wall up here. And among a few other things on the other side, but not much. This is kind of where I focused most of my attention. And I want to continue that this episode. I want to finish out putting the cliffside in all of here and then maybe wrap that other corner a little bit. We'll see how far we get. But yeah, as you'll see, I've already begun to mark a few things out just to change up what I've got going here for the sea cliffs. Oh, I missed that. Because everything back here, I've kind of just followed a pretty simple pattern where, we've got our land level and it varies, but it mostly just, runs up here and those are our cliffs. And I want to kind of change it up just a little bit here. I might end up adding more of these, but it's just a little bit of a land jut out. Actually going to be a cliff layer here underneath. And then up top, we've got a bit of an area where we can have grass or something here, and then we'll bring it up cliffs again here. And you'll also notice that I'm really trying to bring the wall up pretty steep throughout here. It's been a pretty gradual kind of wall variation up to this point. But yeah, I wanted to bring it up a little steeper so that we can get this portion here pretty high up here. This is on the corner of our walls, of course, where the fort's going to be right here, kind of in this section. Anyway, I thought it would be cool to have the cliff kind of overhang way off over here. And so we'll build that, of course, gradually. It won't be this really steep incline. It'll probably be a little more mellow, look a little nicer, I'll think. But that's the plan for that. So yeah, we'll see how that all comes in. Also, the other thing I noticed pretty much right after I ended the last episode, and I was kind of showing off this flag that I did here. I had it going, I think, the wrong way, because the wind would be coming from the sea and the ocean and blowing down this way. So I don't know, maybe I'm thinking about this too hard, but I think technically that flag would be flowing this way, especially being caught here between the cliffs. Yeah. So I changed that. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started on building up probably just this kind of cliff level here down. And yeah, I'll bring you guys back when I've got some thoughts on how I like it or what I want to do next. Okay, so as you can see, I've put a little bit more layers here, and this is just kind of how I like to build some of my cliffs, is using kind of a basic template that I'll just mark out about where I want the cliff to be, as I did up here, and then I just build from the top down, which is pretty annoying, but then I can really get the shape that I'm looking for, I feel like, that way. More so than building from the bottom up anyway. I just kind of build one layer at a time and just shape each of the layers till I get something that I think looks nice. So I'm pretty happy with this, just taking a step back to make sure I like it. And let's finish it. Okay, so I've got some of this cliff now shaped out nicely, as well as the cliff above it. You can see how it's really starting to rise into kind of a nice steep angle going up towards this main peak. But I've got the grass put in up here as well with some moss, just to blend it a little bit. Obviously still need to go through with all of the tuff and really blend it. That's when it'll, I think, really start shaping up, get the beach in there. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep working along. Nice. These cliffs are so long that you can't actually see the the end of them, at least not with the realm's render distance. But I think this is looking pretty sweet. And just imagine what it's gonna look like once there's houses and buildings and other towers and whatnot popping up behind the wall. Because right now it's just a cliffside and a wall, which I think looks cool for what it is. Once we get those buildings back, kind of set to back the wall and get a bit of a sight line over top of the wall and between the towers, that's gonna look really nice. And I want to start that. Look at my little ghost head. Right now, not with any houses or anything like that. There is a trader on top of my wall, so I think I want to build this fort right now. It shouldn't take too long. It's pretty small. And it's directly connected to the wall, as you can see, that's going to be coming off of it. So I kind of need to build the fort before I can continue on with the wall. And plus, I kind of want to see how this is going to work here with the fort coming in and the wall coming in and the cliff coming in kind of at the same time. Because you can see I've kind of marked out some docks here, which will probably go even further out than this. This is kind of just a rough. I wanted to figure out where I wanted the docks to come out of this cliff here. And I think this is going to work for now anyway. I just really want to build up. I just am kind of curious to see how this transition is going to go from the dock to the cliff face and then the walls, because I do need an entrance in and out of the city from this side, the port side of the city. Which I've done right here. You can see I've kind of changed this wall design up a little bit. I put a tower here and a tower here, and then this all, where this is marked out with these two pieces of tuff, an opening, you know, a gatehouse that'll come into the city from this side. Because we're definitely going to need an entrance into the city from the port side of things. I also, if I can figure it out, why hello Jack. I also, if I can figure it out, I had no idea he was here. Anyway, I would like there to be another entrance here where I'm going to build the fort, because I think it would be good that the soldiers or whatnot who are defending over here should probably be able to have very quick beach access, or not beach access, but dock access, for various reasons. I just think that that would make sense. So I'll probably build this tower here all the way down, and that can be somewhat of an entrance. I just don't want it to look too weird, because that's going to be a really tall tower, kind of right in line with the cliff. So I have no idea how that's going to work out, but I suppose we're going to figure it out here in just a little bit. Sometimes these kind of things don't really come to me until I start building, and then I start getting ideas. And so this could change, who knows? The layout I've got right now could definitely change. But for now, I like it, I'm happy with it, and I'm gonna try to build something with it. So let's head in here. I'm going to grab a shulker box or a couple. Actually, probably even another one. I need to go and load my other shulkers that are still on the beach too. But what I need here is a bunch of stone, or stone brick, of course. I'm gonna need to go and get some tuff as well, because I'm pretty low. Just kidding. I didn't know I had all this tuff here in this tuff section. I thought I pulled it all out when I was building the cliffs, but I must have skipped over this somehow. So, well, that saves me a trip. This should be enough tuff to build the fort. Enough stone bricks as well. Andesite, however, am completely out of. So I'll take what I've got here, which definitely isn't going to be enough of anything, and I need the regular andesite anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and mine up a bunch of andesite, I think. Let's get our dark oak here as well. And let's take some of this spruce as well. I don't really know what blocks I'm going to be using for this fort. I assume I'm going to keep it into a similar style as what I've got going for the walls currently and the towers. But I don't want everything to be looking, you know, the same and uniform. So it should be similar, but probably have some things maybe that stand out about it. So again, I'll figure some of that stuff as I build it, but for now, this should get me a pretty good start for building. Before I start, I'm gonna go grab a bunch of andesite. Well, I found a little bit of andesite, but I'm not even gonna waste my time mining that because I know that that's not gonna be much of anything. Also, what in the world is this? Holy crap. I've never seen something like this before. It must be a bad generation. I have no idea. My base is literally just right over there, so this is pretty close. I've never noticed this before. Yeah, well, we'll just leave that, I guess. And also, what's going on with that? Look at it, it's like glowing. What the heck? There's all sorts of weird things going on in Minecraft. Best not to question these type of things. Just let them be. I think for starters here, I'm just going to mark out kind of how tall I want to make this wall. So I'm kind of thinking probably about that tall. If anything, maybe even a little shorter, but I think that should probably be fine. I think that's a good size for it. This tower over here, behind this tower, this ghost tower that I haven't built yet, I'm not too sure how tall I want this one to go as this size, because this is a 9x9, which is quite large, and these are 9x9 on the bottom here, and then they go into a 5x5 with the wall in between, if that makes any sense. So really a 7x7. I don't think I want to make this tower the same as these other towers, because this tower is going to be so tall going down. I think I'll have some liberty here to make maybe a different kind of tower than what I've got going on for the rest of these. For one, to keep away from repetitiveness. Two, we're going to do it just because we can. So I've done some things, and I'm pretty happy with the shape of this. I think it's the perfect size for, you know, just a small fort. But yeah, this is what I've got so far, and I think it's looking pretty cool. Obviously, there's a lot of detail work that needs to go in. Windows need to go in. I still need to, you know, variate some of the blocks here in the stone and whatnot. I'm kind of having issues here, only because I don't know what the land level is going to be in here yet, obviously. So we're kind of only coming down right now, just past the wall a little bit. So it's going to have to come further down. I think that's going to help it even look bigger and grander. But yeah, this is how far I've gotten. I just think that it needs, especially more on this side. I mean, despite it still needing obvious detail work and whatnot, I just think this is a little bit plain over here. And I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to go about fixing it. But when I do bring all this down, which I'm going to do next, well, maybe not next, but I'm going to do it at some point. I'm going to bring all this down further, and then maybe I'll build a little kind of building coming off the side of the wall. Might help a little bit, break up this just plain face. But yeah, all around, this is what I've got so far, and I'm quite pleased with it, especially from like this angle. I think looks pretty cool. Obviously the wall needs to be filled in there, and I need to figure out what to do with that space. And then the cliffside needs to come and kind of wrap around it. That's going to help set it into the terrain much better, since it's kind of floating right now. But ignore that as best you can. And yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this view of it too. So from down here, it's looking, I think it looks like a fort up there. Like, it really does. I think it looks like a nice defensive fort. And that just has helped this build, I think, a lot, just having that there, despite it not being finished and it looking super bland right now. I think just filling that space in has helped this look so much better, and that's really getting me excited, because I can only imagine what it's going to be like once I start, you know, building houses behind the wall as well, and you see the peaks of the roofs coming up beyond the wall, and filling in some of that even better too. But I want this to kind of be the tallest building, which I think it's going to be. When I put the land level in here and start putting houses and stuff, there will be tall buildings and there will be towers that go up pretty tall, but I want this to be the most obvious, tallest building in the area. And I think I've accomplished that with the size I've made it. So yeah, I just wanted to give you a little progress update on what I've done so far. So I'm going to go through now and texture all these walls and put windows in. Fill in this wall here and figure out what I want to do with this kind of awkward space, and then bring all of this tuff even down further. Pretty bland, needs a lot of work, but I think it looks pretty nice. Just the shape of it. Yeah, it needs something else too, so I'm just gonna have to start brainstorming. Even putting things like chimneys in some of these areas and doors will help break some of that bland look, so that's always something to consider as well. But this space over here, it definitely needs something more than just chimneys or balconies and stuff. Like, it needs something. So I'm gonna brainstorm that out and see what I can come up with. But I just wanted to give you a progress update, and yeah, I'm gonna continuing on. So I'm just looking at this from afar right now, and I really like the way that it turned out. Unfortunately, this is not going to be able to be my thumbnail, as that's going to have to be probably on the front side of the cliff on the other side, which is still a good view. But wow, did this turn out nice. I still need to go through and add in some of the finer details, so it is still a little plain and could use some work. I think it's turned out really good so far. I was just stepping back. This side, being the side I was kind of unsure about, turned out to be one of my more favorite sides. So kind of funny the way that works out. But yeah, I kind of decided to add this bit across here and then push this forward one block so it was even with that, because some of those edges were just looking kind of funny. Sometimes in smaller builds, having things offset by one kind of help it. But something I think on this scale that's really worked for me is having some of these just straight surfaces. That still needs some cleaning up and stuff, of course, but I think it's just looking really good. But anyway, what I've been doing right now is putting in all this grass and stone here to try and figure out this other side of it. You'll see I'm kind of trying to just bring it up here on the corner to get some height variation in the actual build itself. Because this is built on a lower portion of ground. The cliff is still obviously very bland and needs a lot of help, which I will get to, but I still need to finish this build itself. I was just kind of trying to bring that in so I had an idea of how tall it was going to be. And I've actually got a wandering trader stuck up here on one of the little bastion things. So yeah, buddy, there's really nowhere you can go. enjoy your time up there. Altogether, I'm pretty happy with the way that this fort has turned out. I think it looks pretty cool from all sides. It's a little more housey kind of looking on this front side, which I actually like. I don't think it needs to be all stone and looking like a small castle. I think it has enough of that aspect, but I want to bring it in with what's going to be going on kind of in the city, which this is what some of the houses and buildings are going to look more like, is this kind of style I got going on here, which I think is going to look really cool. And then this side of it here, yeah, still needs a lot of help, of course. Very plain right now. Haven't gotten to some of the finer details, but I just kind of wanted to show you guys how far I've gotten, because I've been working on this quite a while. Anyway, let's finish this. Okay, so I think I'm finished with the fort, at least for now, until I start working on the inside of the city and I figure out maybe some more of the land level. I might add on to it, but that'll be, yeah, later in the future. Here is the finished fort, and I am super, super happy with the way that this turned out. So let's just get a nice look down here across the river. I think it looks really grand up there. Really, really pleased with the way that this turned out. So let me just show you guys all the sides on it. So I put a banner, a little flag here. Because it's the fort, it represents the city, defensive outpost. I think it should have a nice big banner on it. Probably should have the banner on the other side, viewing the ocean where people and stuff would be coming in. But whatever, this is a good flat wall and I think it looks really good there. So maybe I'll add a banner on the other side at some point, but I didn't really see any good spots for one. Stuff like the base of this whole fort is probably going to change a little bit once I get the ground level in here and have it figured out. But I'm thinking, at least for this area of the fort, I don't want the ground level to be too much different than what I got here. Probably only 1 or 2 blocks, give or take. So I might build this up kind of on a hill from the rest of the city. So the rest of the city might sit down a little lower. We'll see. But I think this is about where I want it. I just think that, of course, things might change once I do add the land level in. But who knows? I haven't gotten that far yet, and it might be a little while till I do get that far, as there's just still so much work to be done on this city. But I feel pretty good about getting this fort done and finished with, at least for now, of course. But I really, really like this view of, and even this view of the fort. It looks so good here from where houses in the city will be. I think I'll be able to create a lot of really cool sight lines with this fort that I'm pretty excited about, with the street layout and stuff like that. Just getting some really nice sight lines down the street and maybe even being able to spot this at the end of some of the streets. I think it's tall enough that I will be able to do stuff like that. So, and I just really like these angles of it, especially these two. And then over here, of course, I think it's looking really nice still. Still looks like a fort up there. And I have been kind of experimenting here I think what I'm going to do here is build this basically just a huge stone platform up here, because this is going to be the entrance into the city from the port. So to access this entrance, I'm going to put a little walkway coming out right here, about that thick, I think, and it's going to wrap this whole area down here and get down to the docks. So I'll have to figure out how those will connect. I have no idea yet. This is probably going to be my next project, maybe like a part 1 and part 2, or maybe even a part 3. This might take me a while, and I don't completely yet know what I want to do with the docks. I'm just kind of going with the flow, building and seeing what happens with minimal planning out, as you can see. But yeah, the docks might need to come even out further than this so that we can fit some nice houses and whatnot on here. So we'll see what I end up doing with that. But that is what this is. And I think this will be necessary because the difference here is so great. The height difference, like you can see when you're down here on the docks, the entrance is going to be way up there. So I think adding this stone platform here with a stone wraparound entrance is really going to look grand, but not only grand, I think it's really going to help me fill in this gap, because that's a pretty big gap to fill in. So at some point there's going to need to be some rise in elevation, and I think this is going to be it. We'll see how that turns out. And then I think I'm just going to, on this side, kind of blend the cliff in with this stone shape here up to a certain point, maybe about right here, and then it'll really just start turning to this stone platform. But I will probably want to blend this just a little bit. Of course, doors to get you from each level, just so that it's really believable. You know, you don't just want to have a dead space up here. You want access in and out of the fort from there. I haven't done an interior on this, of course. Actually, I think I might, because I really just love the way that this fort turned out. I might do an interior on this. We'll see. Sounds like a lot of extra work. Just really excited to keep expanding on the port side here and doing some more. So we'll see what I do with this in the future. I may or may not do an interior for it. Chances are probably not. This is really starting to shape up though. I really love the way that all of this is coming together so far. I just think it looks really nice. So super excited to continue on building this port up and this nice big wall, building in the entrance into the city. And after this, I'm not sure where I'm gonna go next. I don't want to start the castle right now, and I don't even want to plan the castle out, because I really want time to think on how I want to do the castle before I just start putting in areas. Not that I really ever build completely according to what I mark out. I just like to have that for general sense, but I can view everything as a whole. It's just a little easier that way, I think, to build when you kind of know where stuff is going to go. But the castle is going to be so large, I don't even think I need to mark it out. I'm just going to reserve all this space for it. Next, I might just start destroying this mountain, who knows, and then bringing this wall, connecting it to where I know the castle I'm going to build it. Maybe build that wall up. And then pretty soon here, I think I'm going to be able to start on the city. Might kind of bounce back between here and the port entrance, just to kind of build both sides up. Because they're going to, dynamically, I think they're going to look a lot different. The streets and whatnot over here kind of deep into the city. Whereas over here, it might be more houses. Really, I have no idea. I have no plans for the city right now. So who knows how all that's going to shape up. But I think I'm going to be able to start on it here pretty soon. At least once this project over here is complete. I might get bored, as I do sometimes, with just building up one section. Sometimes I like to switch it up and build something different. Like maybe I'll even start on the city before I completely finish the docks. Who knows? I think that's going to do it for this episode. If there's anything you guys want to see me do in the future, let me know in the comments. At least, you know, anything specific. Maybe you want to see me do an interior for this. If enough people want to actually see interiors and do that, if that's like an interest to anyone watching, I will do interiors and even walk you through how I do interiors because I think they're pretty fun. I just more focus on this outside view of things because this is the bigger view. I think it's important to have interiors. I just never get around to them because interiors, honestly, sometimes they take longer than the exterior themselves. Just planning out all the floors and how everything's going to connect and then filling all the rooms with a purpose. And I don't know, it takes a little longer, in my opinion, to do interiors. But I do think they're fun, and I do think having interiors in your builds is a nice addition to then just having exterior. Anyway, let me know what you guys thought of the fort and the sea cliffs and how they turned out. I like to hear feedback. I've been getting a lot of support lately from people just commenting, keeping me going, saying they like what I'm doing, and I really appreciate that. That's kind of what helps me keep going and keep building. Thanks to you few who are subscribed and constantly comment on my videos and just let me know how I'm doing. I really appreciate that. Anyway, see you later, guys.